Let's now talk about the ribs in the next part. Let us now talk about the bony structures present at the lateral sides of the sternum. Yes, you have guessed it right. We are going to talk about the ribs. The ribs are curved bar-like structure which movably articulate with the thoracic vertebrae at the back and with the sternum in front. So thoracic vertebrae from the dorsal and sternum from the ventral side articulate with the vertebrae. So at the dorsal side, the thoracic vertebrae, and at the ventral side, the sternum. With these two structures, the ribs are articulated or joined. All of these structures collectively form a bony cage, the thoracic basket. There are 12 pairs of ribs. Yes, so 12 pairs of ribs are found. So definitely 12 in each side of the chest cavity. Each rib is a thin flat bone that is connected dorsally to the vertebral column and ventrally to the sternum. It has two articulation surfaces on its dorsal end and is hence called the bicephalic. So that is how the ribs are arranged in our body. This is the ventral side, and definitely with the thoracic vertebrae at the dorsal side, the ribs are joined. The first 7 pairs of ribs, which are attached to the thoracic vertebrae and ventrally connected to the sternum with the help of hyaline cartilage, are called true ribs. So the first 7 pairs of ribs are called true ribs, for as dorsally they are connected with the thoracic vertebrae and ventrally they are connected with the sternum, what you can clearly observe on the diagram given here. The 8th, 9th and 10th pairs of ribs do not articulate directly with the sternum but join with the 7th rib with the help of hyaline cartilage. So the next 3 pairs of ribs join with the sternum by help of hyaline cartilage and are not directly connected to this sternum. Yes, because of this, the thoracic cavity can expand during inspiration. In females, we observe sternal breathing. Yes, this is possible because of the 8th, 9th and 10th pair of ribs, which are articulated with the breastbone by means of hyaline cartilage and not show bony articulation, which would have reduced the flexibility otherwise. So these are called the vertebrochondrial or false ribs. Finally, we find the last 2 pairs, the 11th and 12th pair of ribs, which are not connected ventrally and are therefore called floating ribs. These are not connected ventrally, the last 2 pair of ribs. From the dorsal side they originate, but they do not reach the sternum bone at the ventral side. So up to the 10th pair of rib we observe articulation at the ventral side, whereas the 8th, 9th and 10th rib do not directly get connected to the sternum but get connected by means of hyaline cartilage anteriorly. The thoracic vertebrae, ribs and sternum together form the rib cage. Yes, at the dorsal side we have the thoracic vertebrae, we have the ribs at the lateral sides. How many? Yes, definitely 12 pairs. And the sternum or the breastbone at the frontal side. These make up the rib cage. So here is an interesting question based on what we have just discussed. The question is, the number of floating ribs in the human body is how many? Yes, I think you have got your answer, and that is definitely two pairs. Let us continue to talk about the ribs. So the ribs specifically serve three important functions. They protect the important organs of thoracic cavity, such as the heart, the large blood vessels, and specifically our lungs. They bear the respiratory muscle, which are the external and internal intercostal muscles. The intercostal muscles are present just between the ribs, externally as well as internally, and they help in expansion of the thoracic cavity for breathing. And the lower pair of ribs protect the kidney, that is the 11th and 12th pair of ribs. Yes, the kidneys need to be very well protected at the dorsal side, for as they are an essential organ of our abdominal cavity. They perform blood filtration, and thus they are being protected by the last two pairs of ribs, which are the floating ribs. They do not come anteriorly, and thereafter they are not joined with the sternum bone.